everybody, welcome back to Dr. Chao's YouTube channel. In this channel, I'm going to interview our high school students graduating from Howard County Public School System. I want them to share their experience, give some advice to our incoming high school students. I hope this interview will be beneficial to your children or to our incoming students. Today, we are welcoming Bill Tong, who graduated from Atholton High School in 2020. He will join Cornell University, majoring finance. Okay, let's welcome Bill. Bill, can you have a self-introduction?
Yeah, first off, I'd like to say thank you, Dr. Wu, for having me in this interview. So a little about myself. My name is Bill Tong. I went to Atholton High School and I graduated this year. I'll be going to Cornell next year to study finance. In my spare time, I like to read, play tennis, and go fishing with my friends.
Thank you, Bill. Thanks for taking time speaking with me. So my first question for you, what's your biggest challenge in your senior year? How do you overcome that?
My biggest challenge would probably be finding time for my extracurricular activities, given all the college applications and schoolwork. I learned that I delegate more responsibilities to the underclassmen in the clubs and organizations that I was involved in. So I did that, and I learned that by doing so, I could become a better leader.
I see. Thank you. So time management.
Yep, very important.
Okay. So in your whole 4 years high school experience, what was your biggest challenge? How do you overcome that?
I think my biggest challenge would probably be doing what everyone else is doing, whether that be signing up for a club or extracurricular, instead of doing what I thought was interesting. I learned to evaluate new opportunities with a simple rule. If I passed on the opportunity, would I think back and regret it? I found that to be a really good metric when evaluating should I do something or not.
So can you provide one example, one opportunity you evaluated and you either passed on or picked up?
One opportunity that I did was I continued with my nonprofit organization, the Bioma Project. So, quick intro into the Bioma Project. It's a nonprofit where me and my friends put aquariums stocked with native fish and plants into classrooms around Maryland. And that was a really fun thing that we did in middle school. We did it to teach the kids about their local environment. And in high school, a lot of my friends were like, we don't have time for this. Let's pass on and do something else. And I thought about, should I really pass on this? And I concluded that if I passed it on, I would just regret, doing so. So I realized I should keep on doing it. And I don't regret the decision at all.
I see. Thanks for sharing that. So it's kind of something you did in middle school, then you continue with that activity. And some of your friends who initiated that and dropped out, but you really keep going on.
Well, they had some doubts at first, but I convinced them to stay on. So
okay, that's important. It's not an easy skill to convince your peer to do something with you, follow you. I agree with that. So another question for you. So in your high school, can you think about one very unique academic experience you had?
Sort of to go along with the Bioma Project, I was connected with a group called Trout Unlimited, and they're a national organization that's dedicated to preserving, America's cold water fisheries. And they invited me to go to their teen summit, which was held in Michigan. That was during my freshman year. And during that week-long trip, I made a lot of friends, and I learned to be a more effective environmentalist and leader. And I brought back what I learned to the classroom. I brought it back to the clubs and other organizations I was involved in. And I learned that that experience made me a more effective leader and someone who's better able to connect to other people.
Thanks for sharing that. And thanks for your passion about protect the environment and working with like diverse groups and provide awareness as well. I think when we build the foundation for our younger generation about protect the environment, we really lay out the future for the country. I really appreciate that. So let's go back to your extracurriculum activity. I think you probably mentioned a little bit about. Do you want to really elaborate a little bit?
Yeah, I'll elaborate on the Bioma Project first. So in that organization, we taught elementary and middle school students about their local aquatic ecosystem by putting a native fish tank into the classroom. And we gave teachers our curriculum to teach environmental science. So this program has spread to 40 schools and has educated over 2,000 students. And that was probably the mainstay of my extracurricular activities.
You mean 40
I'll
schools, 2,000 students, right?
Yes,
That's a lot.
it is.
Mhm.
Something else I did was I co-founded a group called the Dust Watch Project. We made an app called Dust Watch, which is an iOS mobile app that warns people of incoming dust storms in their area. That's really helpful in this place like the Southwest, where dust storms they kill and injure dozens of people each year, and we saw that was a really big problem, and that gave us the idea to make the app.
I see. That's interesting. How do you work it out? Are you like monitor the air atmosphere, or you get data from some other resources?
We get our data from the National Weather Service. We use their models, and we make our app a gateway for people to gather the data and interact with it, and we send the notifications to people who are in danger of a dust storm.
I see. Interesting. Thanks. And I remember your activity has been covered by Baltimore Sun. How do you feel about that?
I was really proud of the organization and the work that we all put in after we got covered by the Baltimore Sun. That really was a culmination of everything we did.
Thanks. Thanks for your effort. So let's go back to a different topic, like cyberbullying. Have you ever experienced that? Have your friends experienced that? How do they overcome that?
Personally, I'm not really involved in social media. I don't really post, so I haven't experienced cyberbullying. Um, my friends aren't that involved either, so I think any exposure they would have would be minimum. But for anybody who really experienced cyberbullying, I think it's a pretty big issue, and you should definitely report that kind of thing. It's an often overlooked problem, but it can have some really drastic effects on people's mental health, and that affects you as a high schooler.
I see. Thanks for sharing that. I think that kind of your approach, just not touching social media too much, right? It's just directly minimize the negative impact from social media.
Right, which you see on social media is not true. It's not really a reflection of somebody else's real life. So you don't have to feel like you have to be a certain way or look a certain way just because somebody on Instagram is like that.
I see. Thanks for sharing that. I think for our audience, make sure if you experience or see some other your friends experience cyberbullying, try to contact your friends, your parents, or the school system. HCPSS has a robust framework to deal with cyberbullying. They will try their best to help you. So make sure contact the school system. And let's come back to a different topic. Do you have any advice for our incoming high school students? And for example, when you entered high school, you may get a lot of advice from your parents or your friends. Some advice may be true, some may be not. So based on your experience, which kind of advice do you want to share with the incoming high school students?
I would say they should branch out and find what they like. Try out different sports, clubs, maybe do something off the beaten path. At the same time, make sure they don't get overextended and don't put yourself in too many activities and put too much on your plate.
I see. So it's really first try to figure out and which activity you may like, right? And then put the emphasis and the energy there.
Yes.
So do you want to share which kind of activity you tried when in your early year in high school, then you gave up?
I tried speech and debate earlier in high school. I think the club was very interesting, and I met a lot of great friends there. But I ultimately dropped it off because it was too much of a time commitment.
I see. Okay, is it just because of the limited time, you need to pick probably the one you feel the best for you, right?
Yeah.
I see. So how do you feel about college and why you choose Cornell? Why you choose finance as your major?
I was always really interested into the economy and the financial markets. Cornell has a great program in finance, and that's why I chose Cornell. In college, I would just like to I'm very interested in performing economics research, especially on how world events affect different markets.
I see. Thanks for sharing that. I really hope you good luck in your college life and your career in the future. And so the next question for you is, do you have any advice for HCPSS? For example, anything to improve, anything to change?
I think HCPSS does a great job of connecting students with opportunities. I'd change one thing. I think would have to be to make more online learning opportunities and give students a flexibility to craft their own schedules. I think that more online learning would let students at every school have access to a more diverse set of courses, more opportunities. Not all high schools offer the same variety of courses.
Okay, so your point is providing online resources so students will have more opportunity to choose, maybe not just from their own school, maybe from other schools and as well. Is that kind of approach you're talking about?
Yes, I think HDPSS already does it to an extent, but I would like to see it. I would like to see it more widespread and maybe offer more niche classes.
Okay, which kind of niche class you in your mind?
I don't really have anything on top of my head, but maybe they could expand more into the business classes at the schools, or they could do more, maybe do more engineering or that kind of class.
I see. So how do you like the online learning opportunity during the spring, your last semester?
I think they did a good job considering the resources and the time they had. I think they might improve the model a little bit, but I think it was good on what
I see.
kind of resources and time they had, and I generally liked it.
Okay, because we touched on this topic, so you probably heard about in the fall, we'll continue to have a virtual learning for the first semester, and
Yes.
because unpredictable environment we're having now. And how do you expect the online learning to be improved? What kind of aspect you expect them to change a little bit and tune a little bit?
With online learning, there's always a kind of tendency for kids to detach themselves from the class and have a teacher like ramble on and the kids do something else. I think if the teachers engage the kids a little bit more, like more of a discussion type activity, that would be more optimal.
I see. So your point is there should be more engagement between the teachers and the students, right?
Yes.
Make sure the student will not drift away.
Right.
I see. Thank you very much, Bill. So do you have a closing remark?
I think that's it.
Okay, it's pretty quick, and I really appreciate your time. And thanks for our audience for tuning in to Dr. Tao's YouTube channel. In this channel, we will continue to interview our high school graduates. I want them to share their experience and give some advice to our incoming high school students. I hope you can subscribe to the channel and tune in for the future program. And Bill, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate that.
Thank you for having me, Dr. Wu.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.